What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another video. Today I just want to chat a little bit about why I've stuck with Mandarin as long as I have. If you've watched this channel for any time, you'll know that I have a tendency to jump around and not stick with things. And with me closing in on, I don't know, 6 or 7 months of learning Mandarin, I just kind of want to talk about a few things that have helped me stick with this that may help you stick with it as well. Now, the longest that I've spent time studying any language was Japanese, where I'd spent nearly 2 years. Of course, I had a much different study habit then. Was it good? Was it not? I don't really know. There's probably arguments to be said for both ways. But I just want to chat for a second about a couple of things that I've done, or a thing or two that I've done. And I think that this is going to be a rambling video, by the way. For those that don't like that, I apologize. But there's a couple of things. One, my mentality has changed a lot. Of course, when I was younger, I started this channel in like 2015. So I would have been 28 years old-ish. 28 years old. Which is not necessarily young, but I was thinking like, oh, I've got plenty of time to learn. I want to learn all these languages, right? I want to learn all these languages, yada, yada, yada. And that in itself overwhelmed me to the point to where I was like, oh, okay, well, 3 months is up and I haven't learned this. 6 months is up and now I don't know that. And so I just kind of would repeat the cycle of just trying to find the easiest language so I could have a language under my belt. Granted, I did learn Esperanto enough to where I couldn't speak it today, but I went to an Esperanto conference. Spoke nothing but Esperanto. Was I great? That's probably arguable, but I did get around. Everything there was in Esperanto. You could speak English if you had to, but I tried to speak Esperanto as much as possible, which was, I would say, 90-ish% of the time. So I would get in these phases where I was like, oh man, I want to learn these super easy languages because I want to make sure that I've got X amount of languages under my belt. And my mentality has shifted from that to, I really just want to be able to consider myself bilingual by my standards, not by whatever the internet says, not by, wherever the case may be, by my standards, which is being able to go into a restaurant here and have, basically just conversations, not just about food, just about anything. So am I saying like daily conversational? I don't know, because I'm probably to an extent there with Chinese. Or with Mandarin, so I don't know if that would be my criteria, but that is where my mentality is that. And the other thing with my mentality is realizing that I've shifted from saying, okay, I've got X amount of time to learn this language before, in 2025 I want to start Norwegian, which if you know me, I love Norwegian. It's one of my favorite languages. But it's shifted from that to, I just understand that Chinese is just going to be part of my life for the rest of my life. And I've said it before, but I don't know if I've quite felt it the way that I feel it now. And that is just, I love it, first off. So, my wife was doing some Duolingo with me. I was doing Duolingo with her just on French. And I did it for a couple days. She's at like a 150 or 200 day streak, something like that. She's enjoying it. She's not an avid language learner. She's doing it just for fun. But even when I was doing that, I was like, I could be doing Chinese. And so knowing that I'm going to be learning Chinese the rest of my life, even if I get to where I can understand a lot, there's always going to be things that I don't know. And being comfortable with that has made me just, again, more so motivated to do it. And I'm also at a point within the language where when I see things, there's a lot of stuff that I recognize or things like that. And so when I see stuff, especially if I see stuff when I'm watching TV show, and like, if it's a character that I just learned via Mandarin Blueprint or something like that, and I see it and I recognize it and I know it, like that is bonus motivation for me to continue learning the language. So just in general, a mind shift has, shifted on that. Enjoying the language, I enjoy it so much. That's another big thing. I went from, like I mentioned earlier, this idea of wanting to learn, 10 or 15, whatever the case may be. I want to be this polyglot, la, la, la. I don't care anymore. Like, the idea of learning a language just because it's easy, which you're still learning a language. People say that about Esperanto all the time. And I'm like, it's still learning a language. Does it have the intricacies of something else? I mean, no, but there's definitely difficult aspects of it. So to I don't know, use that as a thing. But anyway, like, not wanting to be a polyglot or anything like that, because I don't really care. I just want to be good at Chinese, again, to my level. So, not setting goals for myself, as stupid as that sounds, is the best. And I don't mean that I don't have goals. Like I don't mean that quite so literally, because I have goals. I want to learn a couple of characters every day. I don't have a goal on it, though. I don't have a goal. I don't say I want to learn 10 characters a day. If I learn 5 characters in a day, great. If I've got a really busy schedule, but I can squeak in 10 minutes and learn a character and really just hone in on it and focus and concentrate and get kind of the meaning of it, great. That's a success. Not measuring myself to others' standards, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I've set my own goals, and they're very easy goals, because the goals are simply spend time in Chinese today. That's it. I could set a goal of going for 1, 2, 3, 4 hours a day, but if I don't hit that, it becomes a thing, then the whole week is ruined, and then you just kind of carry on. And a lot of people probably have the mentality to fight that. I don't, or at least I didn't, or whatever the case may be. I don't even know how to respond to that, actually, because I don't care anymore. I spend what I can with the language, and I know that no matter what, if I continue doing what I'm doing, I will learn the language. It may take longer, and that's, the thing. Being okay with it taking longer than 6 months, or 3 months, whatever the case may be, is perfectly fine. So, being able to shift your understanding, your mentality around the language, your understanding and focus on what it is, and just finding a passionate language. The argument is always, I want to learn an easy language. Well, in my opinion, the easiest language is the language that you want to learn the most, and that is Mandarin. Mandarin is not easy by any stretch, but once you kind of demystify a little bit of stuff, like, Mandarin is a very straightforward language. I know that there's obviously exceptions. There's definitely a lot of weird stuff with Mandarin, but generally speaking, it's a very straightforward, very logical language. At least in the beginning phase. Even the tones make sense. Like, I know people make a big deal, about those, but like, even those make sense, especially if you find the right learning method. And that's the other thing in staying, is finding a learning method that works. I know I talk about it all the time. I'm not going to go into this just blistering love affair with these guys, but you know that I love Mandarin Blueprint, and finding something like that to teach Mandarin the way that it does, to where they focus on, here's some characters, here's some words. Now, go find it. Go watch media. Go read. Like, go find it in the wild. Finding that perfect balance, and the way that they teach you to learn the tones and stuff. It took a lot of the guesswork out, and like, oh, well, how am I going to remember this is this tone, this is that tone? And it just helped me a lot. And that's the other thing, again, finding a method that works for whatever language that you're working, that you really love, regardless of if people think it's the most effective method or not. I've had people that'll be like, oh, learning character by character is kind of stupid. Like, I wouldn't do that. That's a lot of wasted time. But I also know, like, probably upwards of 2,000 Chinese words now that I can recognize in everyday, whatever. So it's hard to argue that it's not. And the reason that it's successful is because I stuck with it. Definitely longer than a Duolingo or something like that. Like, it's find a method that works for you. Don't worry about what other people say about it. If you love Duolingo, do it. If you love it, do it. And I think that's the thing. Finding a method, that makes it easier as well. So that's kind of where I'm at. I love Mandarin. I don't plan on stopping. I do have a goal for this December, which is like, I wanted to do a play on like the 25 days of Christmas, where it was just like 25 hours of immersion for December. And I'm thinking about doing that. I'm already, overpaced that. I read for like 40 minutes yesterday. I've read for 30 minutes today, and I've done like 30 minutes of watching some stuff. But I'm thinking about doing that, which I'll make a whole separate video on that if I decide to do that. But this is kind of the first time I've really set like a goal like that for myself within Mandarin. And And I think it's an attainable goal. I mean, it could be difficult. I mean, obviously with Christmas and, just the holidays in general. My friend comes in from Japan every year around Christmas. I'll be spending a lot of time with him. I've got some stuff I've got to do just with other people. But if I can make the time, around doing some work and then a couple of other things that I've planned, I think it's a solid goal. And, anything that I get, I'm going to be happy with anyway. And that's not setting myself up for failure, because honestly, if I don't hit the 25-hour goal, I don't really care, because I know that I've done something, and that's what I want to do. That's not counting, like, I will still count my study time, but I'm really wanting to focus on getting content into my brain more so, light study, heavy immersion kind of thing. But yeah, so that is kind of where I'm at mentally speaking with Mandarin. I'm having a blast doing it. It's something that I don't mind spending the next rest of my life learning. I love it. I learn something new every day, and every day I'm amazed. Like the other day, it's actually been a little bit now, but the other day I learned that it's like Beiji, Beiji, and Nanji is, so Bei is north, and Ji, of course with the specific character, but is extreme. So actually it might be fourth tone Beiji. I think it is Beiji. I think it is fourth tone. But anyway, that means extreme. So north extreme, like, well, what is the most extreme north thing you can think of? It's the North Pole. Now that might not be the first thing that you think of, but once you hear that and you're just like, that makes a lot of sense. And then of course, Nanji, Nan with the second tone, Nanji. Like Nan is south, so south extreme. What is the extreme south? That's the South Pole. It's so logical, man. I learned stuff like that and I'm just like, this language is the coolest freaking language on the planet. But anyway, I hope something that I've said here today can help you. I hope that you get a little bit out of it. I hope that you can, just kind of see a couple of things that have worked for me, shifting that mentality, getting rid of these labels of what you are, and getting rid of any kind of like these crazy lofty goals. If I want to immerse 5 hours a day, like just do something. If you're okay with it taking a little bit of time, and odds are, if you're really passionate about a language, you should be okay with that. Set goals that you can attain. Very nice, easy goals. Spend time with the language. Do 10 minutes. I don't know. Just do something and see if you can stick with that. Because if you can get through a little bit of that plateau of doing 10 or 15 minutes a day, it's going to ramp up. You're going to get that excitement back. And that's happened with me on Chinese a couple of times, where not that I start to lose interest, but I'm like, God, this is tough. And then it's like, I just studied my flashcards today, do that for 10 minutes. I may have read just a couple of little things. I may read an article for Mandarin Bean, or, do a lazy Chinese video or something like that. And then I'll just move on. And that'll usually last a couple days. And then something like that, like the Beiji will happen. And I'm just like, oh yeah, that's amazing. Actually, that's really freaking cool. And it just catapults me up. Actually, now that I think about that, Beiji, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look up the tone for that. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, let me know down below. Like I said, I hope hopefully something that I've said can help you with your goals and with your learning, and how you can kind of really just get into it and be okay with where you're at and just go. Just understanding that you're going to be there, and it'll help keep you motivated. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.